Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Meg, and I am a fully qualified yoga teacher, a beautician, and a masseuse. And on this podcast, I talk a lot about health, I talk a lot about wellness, a little bit of yoga as well, but kind of mainly onto the wellness side. I have wanted to do this podcast episode pretty much since I started. My number one fan and the little thing that has made everything happen, all of this happen, this episode is dedicated to. And I was listening to one of my other favorite podcast episodes, which is the Happiness Lab. So if you ever want to listen, absolutely fantastic podcast that talks all about the science behind happiness. Anyway, I was listening to one of their episodes and they were talking all about dogs and how dogs can affect your happiness. And I wanted to jump on that because my little puppy has changed my life, tipped it upside down, and I am forever grateful for him. So yeah, I'm going to tell you our little story and yeah, how much he's changed my life, little things that I've picked up about dogs. So when you're ready, we will get started. Hi, my name is Meg, and you are listening to the Wellness Musings with Meg podcast. I am a fully qualified beautician and yoga teacher who has studied and worked in health and wellness since 2017. I have been obsessed with wellness my entire life and have always wanted to share my passions more. If you love health, wellness, and yoga and want to learn more, this podcast is for you. I will be bringing you all things wellness from diet and lifestyle to beauty tips and tricks, and of course, yoga as well. So grab yourself a green tea and find a tranquil spot, and let's jump in. Did you know that dogs are able to hear your heartbeat, change their own cardiac rhythm to match yours, and this helps them to understand how you're feeling? Did you know that interacting with a dog can help to lower your blood pressure and your heart rate? And when I was listening to the Happiness Lab podcast episode, they even said that people who are pet owners, they did a study and it showed that people who are pet owners are 4 times more likely to survive after a heart attack than people who are not pet owners. Honestly, this episode was amazing. It was called, hold on, let me find out what it was called so you guys could have a listen to the specific episode if you wanted to. But there was so much on there, all about dogs, all the science behind dogs. It was just such an amazing episode. So it's the Happiness Lab. Let slip the dogs of more happiness. That's what the episode is called. There's a lot of science behind it. They talk about different studies that have been done with dogs and how they can help to make you feel better. Obviously, this isn't going to be the case for everybody. I'm talking about getting a dog here and how much I love my dog and how he's helped me. But don't get me wrong, he has been a handful and he's a massive responsibility. And it might not necessarily be the right thing for everybody, but for my mental health personally, Oakley has been the best thing I've ever done. So yeah, take a little listen to that podcast episode if you want to know more about the science, different experiments that have been done, because it's just such a lovely little episode to listen to. But my story is, if you've listened to other episodes that I've done, you'll know that I am someone who's pretty much always suffered with mental health. So when I was really young, I was always a very anxious and nervous child. I always hated loud noises, like loud bangs. I still do, like my fire alarm going off, or the worst thing is if I'm walking down the street and a really loud car or motorbike goes past. I hate it. All it makes me want to do is bury into the ground and hide into a hole. I hate it so much. So when I was younger, I would worry all the time. And I also I can't remember what the long name for it is. It's a really long name, but it's something called Tritch. So when I was younger, I used to pull out my eyelashes and my eyebrow hairs, which apparently 1 in 30 people actually have Tritch. But honestly, when I was younger, my stepdad used to say I look like a burn victim. um, yeah, I had no lashes, I had no eyebrows, and that was like my way of coping with the stress, was pulling out the hairs. Because if you're someone who does have twitch, your body actually releases a hormone, a relaxation hormone, every time that you pull out a hair. So even though I've got complete control of it now, and I obviously have got all of my eyelashes and all my eyebrow hairs, um, if I pull a hair out, there's definitely like a hormone, it like relaxes me. So it's a habit that I've had to learn to break. But when I was younger, I had counselling for that. I was always someone who like bit their nails. I used to bite my skin on my fingers to the point where they were all like raw. So again, when I was younger, I had counselling for that because my mum was worried I would get like them infected and maybe get septicemia and get really poorly. So I had counselling for that. And then I had anorexia as well, which I have mentioned on another episode, which comes with a whole host of horrible mental health things to go with it, the depression, a little bit of the anxiety. And I'm very lucky and grateful that I can say that I am pretty much, completely back to my healthy state now. Learning yoga, exercising, eating well, like I'm always make sure I'm on top of all the things that help me to feel good. It's partly why I wanted to start this podcast, because wellness for me is the thing that keeps me sane. It's the thing that keeps me from falling. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't say I've got an eating disorder anymore. I'm literally eating a chocolate as I'm doing this episode. So eating is not a struggle for me at all. But occasionally, especially like when my hormones dip and do whatever they're doing, I definitely get better days than others. I think everybody has better days than others. And I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm someone who suffers with depression, but I have definitely been through heaps of counseling, and I wouldn't say that my brain is probably the most healthily functioning brain in the entire world. I know how to keep it healthy. I know how to look after myself. And luckily, I've never been a self destructive person. So it's been something that as I've got older, I think because my mum caught it early, like all these different mental issues that I was suffering with, she got me in to have counseling. I think my first counseling session was like probably about 8. I was really young. And I had like worry dolls, and like I used to have to sit at night and tell my worry dolls what was going on, and all these little things that different counselors try to set into place. So I had quite a lot of knowledge and was taught from a very young age kind of the different ways to look after myself. My mum was amazing as well in that she definitely put in a lot of effort to try and help me. So my sister, she suffered with depression as well. She was really quite bad with it when she was younger. And my mum did loads of research into like diet, lifestyle, like how to look after children's brains. And like apparently, when you become a teenager, your brain goes through more development than when you're a child, a baby, like learning to walk and talk. So my mum was pretty good with us. She was pretty good at and supportive. So it helped teach me how to look after myself and keep myself in a good place, in a structured way rather than a destructive way. Um, but yeah, over the years, I will say, like, although I can keep my brain going, and it's not like I'm upset all the time or anything like that, but I definitely go through good days and bad days since living on my own. And um, again, if you've listened to other episodes or videos, you'll know that I used to do very, very well in my job. I ended up moving from my childhood town, and I moved to where I am now. And basically, I have struggled with money, and I live on my other half, but like I'm having to pay for all the bills and rent. And that he's been amazing in that he supports me so much. It's partly how I got to do this channel, because I wanted to be able to earn money from something, and I just like YouTube just kept calling me. But that's by the by, that's a completely different story. But yeah, my mental health 100%, it took a massive plummet since I moved here. Not because I'm unhappy to live with my other half, obviously not. It's the stress. I think if I'd moved here and I'd found a job really quickly, and was being paid well and felt really like happy and comfortable, I genuinely think if I was earning a good wage, I probably would never have gone down a dark path. But because I work it primarily. I used to work in the beauty industry, and if anyone's worked in that industry before, unless you work for yourself and have your own business, it's extremely hard to earn a decent wage. Like my first job was pretty much minimum wage, maybe like 10p over minimum wage, um, which is very hard to get. Like it's very hard to like work your way up in those sorts of companies. And like, or when I would look for salon jobs and things like that, everything was just such a small wage. And yeah, then I worked in an osteo clinic, and again, like I was earning honestly some months around £200 or £300 for an entire month's worth of work because I was self-employed and I didn't know anyone in the area. And I'll be honest, the company promised that they would like help me to grow, and they didn't. Their marketing wasn't up to scratch, so there was just like I just wasn't getting people coming through the door. I'm going to be very careful. I'm going to leave that there. I don't want to say anything else, but it wasn't what it should have been. And so that's why I now work from home. I've got a different job. I earn enough to be able to pay my rent and things like that. But I wanted to work with YouTube so that I could actually earn a wage and enjoy my job and kind of have a career or something that I can continually work at and get better and better at. So hence why I'm here. But yeah, I think if I'd moved here, had a job, fell into a job and had money easily coming to me and found it no issue to like pay rent and just be able to live a life, I don't think my mental health would have plummeted. But honestly, since I moved here, I feel a lot better now. But in the beginning and for quite maybe the first year, I just honestly felt like a massive failure. Um, and this was before I set up this channel. I just felt like a waste of space. I think this place I was working at, I was like working every single day, like going there, but just no clients coming. It was like soul destroying. So yeah, I'm very glad that it all happened because I always wanted to set up this channel, but I wouldn't have been able to with all those things happening. But my mental health definitely took a hit, and I tried everything to try and kind of bring it back, but nothing was really working. My life just felt empty. And I sort of jokingly last Christmas, Gareth was like, Gareth's my other half. He was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, "Oh, let's get a dog." He's like, "No, we can't afford a dog." And I was like, "Okay, okay, fine." And what's really strange is that I've never really wanted a dog up until that point. Um, like I used to go around people's houses, and although I loved their dogs, I loved them like from a distance. But there was like this really weird shift in me that just felt like I needed something to not to live for, but something to love me that I could kind of, I don't know, pour my energy into a little bit more, I think. So yeah, I started talking about it, and then we started talking more and more and more about it. And after a lot of nagging, in April, I was on the Kennel Club website and I knew exactly what kind of dog I wanted. I wanted a long haired mini, chocolate and tan dapple dash hound. And Oakley was on the website. He was born on the 22nd of February. And what's crazy is that 2 is my lucky number. So I was like, that's it, that's the dog, that's him. And we went and looked at him. I do have a video that talks about this on my channel. It was honestly, bringing him home was the best day of my life. I was so happy, and he just fills my heart with so much joy, honestly. Having Oakley, even though there's been days where he's definitely tested me, and you never stop training them. Like I don't think I realized, I knew it was going to be a heck of a lot of work, but I don't think I realized, like, all I ever say is Oakley, no, get down, good boy, like on repeat, like just Oakley, come on, Oakley, do this, Oakley, no, come on, yes, well done, good boy, Oakley, and like that's all I ever say. You never stop training them, but oh my God, he's the best thing ever. And my mental health since having Oakley has been in a better place than it ever has. And I am so pleased that I've got him. I'm so pleased that we did it. And yeah, I think it should be talked about more, that about dogs and like their association with mental health and dogs and helping to increase happiness. Because, and I say this to my mum all of the time now, like when I was younger, I think if my mum had just got a dog, I actually think it would have helped me to no end. Um, but I mean, I'm not mad at her for that at all, because it's such a huge life-changing decision. I wouldn't expect her to do that, but it is, I do think it would have made a huge difference. And yeah, so we're talking about wellness on this podcast, and I feel like lately I cannot talk about wellness and happiness and improving your health and well-being, your mental health and well-being, without mentioning Oakley and how much he has done for me and done for my mental health, because my life has literally not been in such a good place without him. And yeah, I think if you're someone who's maybe considering getting a dog, or maybe someone who suffers a little bit with mental health or feels like they need that, I mean, it's the best thing I ever did. It's difficult, don't get me wrong, but it kind of shifts your focus from you and your not problems, but like when when you're thinking irrationally because your brain's not in the best place, when you've got a dog there, you haven't got time. Like, I don't have time to think irrationally anymore. And if I'm sad, I go for a dog walk and I get outside and I watch him play amongst the leaves, and or I'll go and have a nap with him on the sofa. Like, he just is my entire world, and I'm so grateful for him. And yeah, I think people should talk about how amazing dogs are a little bit more. They are an incredible animal. Like, I was watching a documentary the other day. Dogs can sniff heat. So, you know, when you like get up off the sofa and then you'll look and your dog has nabbed your seat, and it's because they've got like an extra sense where they can like see and kind of smell heat without actually, like, from a distance. And that's so, like, dropping something on the floor, they can actually see and smell the heat. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, yeah, this documentary was so interesting, and I just think dogs are amazing, and Oakley is amazing, and he's done so much for me, so much for mental health. And yeah, like I said, I really don't think I can do this podcast without mentioning how much he has meant to me and how good he has been for me and my mental health. And if you're someone that maybe isn't in a position to get a dog, it might be worth just implementing some of the things. Like, for example, I genuinely think the fact I have to take him out every single day makes a big difference to my mental health. I genuinely think that the fact I have to get up every single morning to look after him makes a big difference to my mental health. So if you're someone who maybe can't have a dog, getting outside every day and walking will make a huge difference. And like, getting up and starting your day really does make a difference. Yeah, I guess that's literally all I want to talk about on this episode, is my lovely little puppy and how amazing he has been and how amazing dogs are. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward to talking with you again soon. Oh, I've got some really exciting episodes coming. Oh, yeah, I think it'll be either the next one or the one after, planned, ready to go. I have got some big news to share with everybody, so I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I will speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye. Have a good day.